Welcome to the Imbalance Podcast, a place where we navigate the struggles and perks of single mom life, the ebbs and flows of my work in the beauty industry, quality relationships, working through personal traumas, and finding our higher purpose. Sounds like a lot of struggling? Well, it is. So grab a drink and let's try and balance it together, because who said we have to navigate through this chaos alone? Welcome to the Imbalance Podcast. I'm Kat, your host, and this is your weekly dose of mom brain, unfinished tasks, work fatigue, and simply trying to balance the imbalanceable with me. So for me right now, I feel like a breath of fresh air because the semester has ended. Hello, Millie. Let me back up a little bit. I don't know if I've shared this on my podcast, but I actually started going back to school at the beginning of this year, working towards my bachelor's degree in psychology. I definitely was hesitant at my big grown age going back to school because it's a lot of work, and I will say it is a lot of work. And there has been plenty of times where I was crying or asking myself, why am I going through this? Or why did I choose to go through this? But I think it's important to note for me, I've always been very interested in psychology, and I also feel like I've been around a lot of people who have had, maybe some mental health disorders, diagnosed and undiagnosed. And I've always just been curious and passionate about the fact that people are going through a lot of things that they may not have any control over, and how their brain works or how they process information, and also how we develop as humans based off of our environment, how our parents parented us, if our parents were present in our lives or whoever was present in our lives. I just think all of it plays a factor in who we are as we get older. And I can touch on that more later, but I think it's just important to know that the semester's over right now, and I'm feeling really relieved. So now I can just focus on, for like a month, not that long, but I can focus on doing things, more fun stuff with my kids in my free time, and enjoying this holiday season as it's here. I think this is a great segue into what I want to talk to you guys today about. I saw this Instagram post from the Holistic Psychologist. I've been following her for a long time. I read one of her books. I think she's amazing. If anybody who is interested, her work was definitely very insightful for me. But her post said, burnout isn't just from working too hard. It's from not getting your emotional needs met. And I was like, that is interesting, because, most of us talk about burnout as in like we're working too much, there's too much going on, and we need a break, right? And then this was her caption. I'm not going to read the whole thing, just a part of it. There is a misconception that burnout comes from working too hard. And it can, of course. People are working harder than ever, but there's more to the story. What triggers burnout is a lack of our emotional needs being met. If we feel lonely, isolated, in conflict with people we love, or completely invalidated, our body responds. And I said, I wouldn't have thought of that being a part of burnout. So, this time of year, most of us are burnt out completely. We feel the year's weight on us, everything that happened this year. And on top of that, it's like we have the holidays to celebrate. We have festive things, shopping, and then spending time with friends and family during this time. Although this can be very joyous for a lot of people, sometimes it feels very heavy and hard for others, or for both. Like, you can be very joyous, but it could also feel heavy and hard at the same time. So to know that sometimes this burnout may feel heavier because our needs haven't been met is pretty profound. So before I get into it, I would also like to say, let this just be a thing to think about during this time. I don't recommend making any major life changes in this moment based on the fact that your needs aren't being met. Because again, we don't want to add more stress to our life right now. This can be just something that you note, you journal about, and you sit with until you feel like the time is right to make some changes. Based on her post, this is what she wrote. And things that I'm going to share with you guys to spread the word. If you feel burnout, here are the things to think about in your relationships. Romantic, family relationships, and friendships. Do you feel heard in your relationships? Can you trust people close to you? Do they check in and are they consistent? Are they pouring into you the same way that you pour into them? Can you speak without being judged? Can you ask someone to just listen? Do you know where you stand? So I encourage all of you to answer these questions by journaling so that you can keep track of your thoughts, in this moment. And if there are any no's to those questions, I would try and see how you can make them a yes. And for example, by that, I mean, if you feel like one of your close friends judges you when you speak or tell them about something that happened in your life, how can you change that? And again, your answer may be like, I can't change how people respond to me, so therefore...
Hey all! Some of you may already know this, but besides being your podcast host, I'm also a cosmetologist. I have been in the beauty industry for the past 12 years, and I specialize in curly hair care, hair cutting, and coloring in the Northern Virginia area. My books are open, and if you'd ever like to book an appointment with me, please visit my website at www.kathlena.com. I also offer an adult and child versions of my ebook, Your Natural Hair Wash and Go Style Guide, which provides key information behind the science of hair, step-by-step wash, condition, and styling process, product recommendations, and more. Purchase right now and enjoy $10 off, no code required. Now back to the show.
You can do that by verbalizing this to them, how you feel. I think it's always important to give people that you love a chance to make better choices, because sometimes people don't know that that's what they're doing. But if they can't meet your needs by not judging your feelings, maybe they aren't considered a close friend. So then you have to process that and maybe not open that person up to certain parts of your life. This will change the relationship, but being aware that life is full of changes. And if we just stick with things because we're used to them, that is what causes the burnout of feeling like our needs are not met. We're expecting an outcome that's different from the same person who you haven't communicated with, that you are feeling this from them. So again, I'm not telling you to break ties, on Christmas, nothing crazy like that, but it's important to, if you're feeling burnout, that's what journaling is for, being able to reflect back. And sometimes it takes a thought and then you to write out a thought, and then that feeling may keep reoccurring. So you can always go back and say, hey, did I handle this? Do I still feel this way? Maybe it was temporary. Maybe you don't really feel like that. Or maybe that person was just temporarily responding to you that way because they were dealing with something. And definitely relationships. No. I'm not going to say that relationships are not more important than friendships. I feel like friendships are so important because if you have a good support system, then no matter what ups and downs you go through in any parts of your life, those people will be there to help you. And now when it goes into partnerships, we do still have to be very careful of who we're letting into our lives, because they're in a really close space with us. So I hope, if any of you are in a toxic relationship right now, and girl, it's been toxic, this might be a good time to journal and see, once you get down to the bottom of it, and if they're the ones who are not meeting your needs and they haven't changed after you've told them over and over the things that you need, and they haven't been able to give them to you, I think you know the answer. But I digress. Besides all of the obvious ways to avoid burnout, I hope that you guys are resting when you can and not overextending yourself. Like that is probably the biggest thing this year is like overextending ourselves, wanting to say yes to everything, wanting to gift every single person we ever come in contact with. Just take a deep breath and really categorize things based off of priority and importance. I would say for me, I'm actually really proud of myself this year. I got a hold on gifts and ideas of gifts early. For me, early was like by Thanksgiving. So I'm patting myself on the back for that because in the past I have not done that, and the holidays are already like a little tricky for me as far as my emotions. I've already shared this before, but I have a lot of mixed emotions and things like that. So I told myself this year I need to be better at trying to change the way that I think about it. And one of the things to help me be better was to be more organized with gifting, who I'm going to give what to, having those ideas already ready, having it in my notes, checking off things once that they're done, ordering things on time, just really putting in the work so that on the back end, things are a little bit easier for me. Regardless of whatever holiday that you do practice, this is the time to come together and celebrate just the loved ones in your life and still being here. Because, oh my God, life is hard, y'all. Life is so hard. And I think people in your life, if you appreciate them, make them feel appreciated. It doesn't necessarily have to be gift giving, but just telling them, cooking for them, something that makes people know that you appreciate them, because you should do that all the time, right? But sometimes it's like, okay, now that we have a set time to do that, let's make sure that's done. So I know this is a little short one, but I hope that you guys resonate with this and use it anytime, a part of your toolbox when you feel like you need a little uplift. And I hope you guys have a happy holiday season.
Let's stay connected. You can find me on Instagram at imbalancedwithkat or on my website, imbalancedpod.com. Give me a follow or a podcast review, and I'd love to share it on air. Thanks again for listening. Hope you enjoyed this show.